Hello and welcome to this week's Midweek Message, our opportunity to share parish news and answer some of your questions. First, parish news. So there's nothing out of the ordinary, but I do want to get your input. The 2 p.m. Mass on Sundays has consistently been at about half the number of people present as the 8:30 and the 10:30. Thanks be to God for those. We've been getting very close to, if not reaching capacity, even with this 40% number that we have now. I'm so encouraged by the fact that many of you are wanting to come to Sunday Mass and that you feel safe going out, that we're doing everything that we can to make that possible. But I am wondering, is it that the 2 p.m. time just doesn't work? Because, I mean, it does seem like a kind of odd time to have Mass. So, what I'm going to ask, and I'm going to have a poll out on Facebook, on Instagram, and we're going to send it out to everybody that we have on our email list. Of these three options, which one would you be most likely to attend? If we had that third Mass at 12:30 p.m., kept it at 2 p.m., or moved it to 5 p.m. I'm open to any of these. I just want you all to be able to get Jesus, right? And obviously we would go through any inconvenience for that. That's our encounter with him. So even if Mass were at the most inconvenient time possible, I would hope that you would still move heaven and earth to be able to make it. But then on my side, I should be doing everything that I'm able to do to make it as accessible as possible. So right now, what I would ask from you is your input. 12:30 p.m., 2 p.m., or 5 p.m. Of those three options, which would you be most likely to attend? We'll get those polls up today. And that's really it for parish news for right now. More next week. So on to the question. Now the question, it's actually two questions that were asked. One was from somebody who is interested in Catholicism, is wanting to enter into the church through RCIA, but doesn't know how to share that with her family that is not Catholic. And the other is, well, what do I do when somebody in my family who is Catholic distances themselves from the church or completely breaks from the church? Well, in both of these, the most important thing to communicate is that which church you go to isn't like which football team you root for. It's not this kind of matter of just opinion. It's a truth claim. Like the only reason to be a Catholic is that I am convinced that the Catholic Church is the church founded by Jesus, who I am also convinced is God, right? So in the traditional kind of schema for evangelization or catechesis, it was first, does God exist? If so, is Jesus God? If so, did he found the church? And if there is a God, if Jesus is him and this is his church, then it'll be really tough to convince me to leave. So for somebody who is Catholic and wanting to explain that to a non-Catholic, those are kind of the basic 3 points. It's like, I know that there is a God. Not only my faith, but my reason tells me this. Then looking at this Jesus figure, I realize he's not just this moral teacher. No, that he is God incarnate. And he didn't just come and stay with us for a little bit and then leave and say, try to figure it out. No, he left his apostles, breathed his spirit on them, and then that succession from then to now has been the church. Like from that very first band of disciples and apostles sent out to proclaim the good news, well, from the very beginning up until now, we can trace ourselves back to that. And we can see over the centuries this development of our understanding of the faith, of how to live a moral life, and of how to experience the Lord in the sacraments. That's the big thing when somebody's leaving. I go back to this quote by Fulton Sheen, by Venerable Fulton Sheen. He said, not 100 people in the history of the church have ever left Catholicism, but millions have left their false impressions of Catholicism. I'm butchering that quote, but the basic premise of that quote is that we don't know what we're leaving. We don't know the richness of this faith, the deep encounter with the Lord that we can have in the sacraments. And part of that's on us, that we haven't shared that we haven't been able to explain that when people have doubts, instead of listening to them, we kind of shun them and say like, oh, how dare you question that? Like, no, I think one of the most beautiful things, whether you are on your way into the church and your family has questions, or you're in the church and one of your family members is leaving, is to field those questions with this excitement of being able to share your faith, and to have the willingness and the humility to say, I don't know, but I'll find out, when you don't know, but you can find out. A big part of us sharing this faith is to be able to meet people within their doubts, within their questions, to be able to actually talk about these things and then share this faith that hopefully we're coming to know better and better day in and day out. All right, so that is it for this week. God bless you all, and goodbye.